What's up, guys? We are finally here. It is Super Bowl Sunday. We're going to break down the big game. We're going to be looking at the Chiefs and the Eagles. We're going to be looking at injury reports, weather reports, any kind of report you can possibly imagine. We're going to break down how both teams have made it here to the Super Bowl. I'm going to give you my best bet on the side, my best bet on the over-under, and we're going to look at about a billion player props for this game. We're also going to go over these very, very short three-game NBA slate at the end of the video. So if you're here for the NBA picks, don't worry, guys. Those are still in there. In terms of Saturday's results, guys, things are still very, very up in the air. We're recording this one a little bit earlier there, so we can get this video out to you for Super Bowl Sunday nice and early. We did hit Dallas -4 as our first play of the game. That one definitely worked out. We've still got the Blazers +5.5, Boston -2. Duke does look like they're in trouble, so that one, Duke -7.5, might end up being a loss, but very little information right now on how that day is going to end. Guys, do me a huge favor. We're doing a big promotion. We're trying to get to 1,000 likes on one individual video. If we do that, we'll be giving away one of these Stump the Spread hoodies to somebody random in the comments. So definitely get in there, hit that like button, subscribe to the channel if you're new. We're also going to be giving away a hoodie when we hit 50,000 subscribers. We're closing in on 47,000, so we're getting very, very close. We upload a new video every single day, so you definitely want to be subscribed so you don't miss out on these picks on a daily basis. You can now also sign up for a channel membership by clicking the little join button right below the video. Members get exclusive early access to all of my videos and get their names up on screen just like right now. I really appreciate the support from all of you. Seeing that badge next to your comments keeps me fired up and motivated to make this channel even bigger and better, and lets me know I have a real super fan out there. All of our videos are sponsored by StumpTheSpread.com. We have a team of experienced cappers over there for every major sport, currently covering the NBA, college basketball, UFC, and the NHL. We also have a premium pick up there for the Super Bowl. We've been on a sick run recently. We just had a nice profitable day over there in terms of the college basketball action. So click the link in the description to head over there. If you're not ready to sign up for a premium account right off the bat, totally understand, guys. Just sign up for our free email list. You'll get updates on our results as well as free picks straight to your inbox. Comment below with any bets you're looking at today and we'll give you our best advice on all of them. We're committed to responding to every single comment every day. So let us know anything you want to say about my picks, these videos, or anything you see here. As always, our favorite picks will be in the pinned comment down below. Now let's get into the Super Bowl, guys. We got the Kansas City Chiefs taking on the Philadelphia Eagles down there in New Orleans. The Chiefs come into this game probably feeling pretty good. I mean, they're going for a three-peat here. They're fresh off of that, thriller of a game, that big win there over the Bills, taking them down 32-29. Crazy stuff. Mahomes played pretty well in the game. Not necessarily amazing, but making every play that he needed to and avoiding those mistakes. He also did a great job running the ball in this game. I mean, he passed for 245 yards, 1 touchdown, 0 interceptions, sacked a couple of times, but ran the ball 11 times for 2 touchdowns and 43 yards. So nothing wrong with that. The Chiefs running game looked online for sure. Kareem Hunt looked very good. 64 yards. It did take him 17 carries to get those yards, but he also had a rushing touchdown in the game. We also liked what we saw from Xavier Worthy. I mean, he did have that 2 rushes for 16 yards, but he also caught 6 out of his 7 targets for 85 yards and a touchdown there. Juju Smith-Schuster caught 2 out of 3 targets for 60 yards. Like, things are working out. Like Travis Kelce, not a big day, guys. Only 19 yards on 2 catches, only 4 targets. So they weren't able to go to him too much, and it still worked out. So that's a great sign for this team, honestly, that they were able to, not have to rely on Travis Kelce too much there in the passing game. They still managed to get the job done in, a big way in one of the biggest possible spots you can be in sports. So loved what we saw from the Chiefs offense last week, putting up 32 points. Obviously, very, very good. And yeah, the defense, maybe not so hot, guys. And the Chiefs have been a team that's really relied on the strength of their defense this season. How will it hold up here against the Eagles? Well, against the Bills, they give a couple passing touchdowns and 237 yards through the air to Josh Allen. They didn't pick him off or anything like that. They also give up 85 yards in the running game to James Cook. He had 2 touchdowns as well. So we'll see if the Chiefs are able to make some adjustments. You're certainly going to have to do a lot better job of stopping the run here against the Eagles. Saquon is just going to run for like 200 yards and make absolute mincemeat out of your entire game plan, out of your entire team, out of everything you wanted to do in this game. We saw the Chiefs do an okay job against the pass, but not elite. And this team really, defense has been the main focus of the Kansas City Chiefs. And they've had a very good year overall. I mean, allowing under 20 points per game. They've been a top, 4-5 defense in the league basically all season long. They had a really good regular season, but in the playoffs, I mean, giving up only 14 points to the Texans definitely looks good, sure, but it's the Texans, so I'm not about to overreact to that. In general, though, we do like what we've seen from the Chiefs defensively, and they've had extra time to game plan here. Maybe Spagnuolo can come up with some ideas on how to slow down a very, very, very good Philadelphia Eagles rushing attack. The Chiefs come into this game looking very healthy. That's obviously a big deal. They had pretty bad injury luck in the wide receiver core at the beginning of the year. Don't get me wrong. That was a huge problem there. But they've relatively well addressed that. I mean, Xavier Worthy has morphed into a very solid, starting wide receiver option. They picked up DeAndre Hopkins, although they haven't been using him too much lately, so we'll see how that goes. Juju Smith-Schuster's had his big games, and we'll be talking about him once it comes to prop time, and obviously the solid guy out there, Travis Kelce, always a reliable option, although he's coming off of a pretty bad game there against the Bills. So we'll see what kind of bounce back he can have. We'll see if this healthy Chiefs defense can turn things around. We also feel pretty good about the Chiefs there on special teams. I mean, Butker was amazing before his injury. He came back and has been very good since that injury. So feeling pretty good about the kicking situation there for the Chiefs as well. So we'll see what they can do here against an Eagles team that comes into this one absolutely cruising. Their path to the Super Bowl has been obviously longer. They've had to play 3 games. The Chiefs have only had to play 2 thanks to getting that first round bye, but we love what we've seen from the Eagles. I mean, they finished the regular season 14-3, so dominant stuff there. They got a nice 22-10 win, a comfortable win there against the Packers in their first playoff game of the season. Things got a little bit sketchy there against the Rams, but we see Saquon come through with 200 plus rushing yards and 2 rushing touchdowns. So good stuff there in the snow. An amazing game. A very cool game to watch there for the Eagles for sure. Jalen Hurts not getting asked to do too much. He was sacked 7 times in the game, so definitely some problems popping up there for the Eagles. And everybody, maybe not everybody, but a lot of people were super jazzed up about the idea that the Washington Commanders could come in and knock the Eagles off and not take away their right to play in the Super Bowl, but that is not what happened, guys. The Eagles got a dominant 55-23 win. Another massive day there from Saquon, 118 yards, 3 rushing touchdowns. He got all that on only 15 carries, guys. So great stuff from him. Hurts looked much better, only sacked twice in the game, and the Eagles' offense in general looked bonkers, guys, putting up 55 points, just crazy stuff. Will Shipley had a massive run. Like, Jalen Hurts had 3 rushing touchdowns of his own. Like, it was a dominant performance from clearly a vastly superior team. We saw A.J. Brown get back on track. He had 96 yards, caught 6 of 8 targets there. Goddard had an amazing game as well. Devonta Smith, not an amazing game necessarily, but he caught all 4 of his targets for 45 yards, showing that he can be a reliable pass-catching option. We saw the Eagles not turn the ball over a single time in this game. Only 2 sacks given up, like I said. Like, very good stuff in that one. And the offense, while it played great, the defense played similarly well, guys. They forced, a grand total of 4 turnovers in the game, 3 sacks there against Jaden Daniels, only gave up 48 rushing yards to him, which is not too bad. That guy has a very bright career, assuming he can stay healthy, but he did it pretty much for this year, so we'll see what he can do in future seasons, but really loved what we saw from the Eagles on defense. They're another team that's been very good defensively this season. They did give up a lot to Zach Ertz, but other than that, a very good day. Giving up a ton to Zach Ertz does raise the question of how well they'll do defending Travis Kelce, but obviously it's going to be a completely different game plan. You're going to have to, emphasize slowing down Mahomes' favorite target. There's no doubt about that. And the Eagles defense over the course of the season, guys, has been very good as well. One of the best defenses in the NFL. They gave up the second fewest points in the NFL this season. So very happy with what we've seen from the Eagles on defense, and we're similarly happy with the health situation here of the Eagles. They're not a team that went through a ton of massive injury problems. Hurts having that concussion at the end of the year was probably their scariest injury, I would say, but he's been back. He's looked totally fine. I don't think there's any adverse effects. There was also some knee injury drama cropping up there, but it seems like he should be 100% ready to go. And the fact that Saquon has had such an amazing, historically great season and managed to stay healthy the entire time is also very impressive. Healthy wide receiver core, healthy tight end, a healthy offensive line, all things point in the right direction here for the Eagles on offense. On defense, they have had their share of injuries over the course of the season, like any defense would expect to have. They've got a few guys on IR, but right now the defense is looking very good. They've got an elite defensive line that's going to be doing its best to get after Mahomes, although that is easier said than done a lot of the time. We like what we've seen from this secondary. Will they be able to stop the running game there of Kareem Hunt and Mahomes? That's maybe a little bit of a question, but geez, guys, I mean, this has been such a good defense over the course of the season. I don't think it's time to really freak out too much. Like, I think they're going to be absolutely fine here against, albeit a very savvy, if not ultra talented Eagles offense. So we'll see how things go there. The special teams unit for the Eagles is definitely, totally fine. I wouldn't put them necessarily in the elite position. I mean, Jake Elliott, he's fine. I'm not going to freak out about Jake Elliott, though. He hasn't been put into too many crazy positions here as of late with, things working out very comfortably for the Eagles. So if he's in a high pressure kick situation, maybe we have to be just slightly concerned, but not overly concerned. I think the dude's going to be fine out there. So we'll see how things go in terms of, health and both teams, how they match up. Obviously, that's looking okay. The weather obviously is not a big concern. Both teams have been down there in New Orleans for a bit. This game's obviously being played in a dome, so not too concerned about that either. This should be, a pretty straightforward matchup. I don't think we have to worry too much about, any sort of, oh, this team's going to be super, messed up because they're down there in the warmth and the heat of New Orleans. Like, they've been down there for a while, and it's the winter, and it isn't that hot in New Orleans right now. So everything should be fine in terms of the weather, and the kicking situation is obviously optimal there in a dome. In terms of some trends for this game, guys, the Chiefs finished their regular season, or right now, or currently 9-10 against the spread this year. They are 11-9 to the under. Philadelphia, 13-7 against the spread, 11-9 to the under as well. Guys, looking at the side in this game, first of all, I think there's some very important things we need to take into account. First up, this line has been moving a little bit. We saw it get all the way up to the Eagles at +2. Maybe there would have been a time to be on the Eagles there, but I think now that it's more back to around 1 or -1.5 there for the Chiefs, I think we're certainly going to be on the Kansas City Chiefs here. They've got the better head coach. They've certainly got the better quarterback. I would say they've certainly got the better head coach as well. Andy Reid is a staggering 29-3 straight up when he's playing with 13 or more days of rest. That includes all the way back to when he had Donovan McNabb, guys. The public has been coming in on the Eagles here a little bit. It's never a bad idea to be fading the public. I think this is a great spot for Mahomes and company. I'm just never going to be fading Mahomes, Travis Kelce, Andy Reid when they're playing in a Super Bowl or playoff game and they're favored of less than a field goal. There's just no way I can do it. There's no way I can get off of it. You can say things are rigged for them. You can say the refs are on their side. You can say they're just lucky. Whatever it is, I want to be on the side of all those positive things. Does the NFL want them to three-peat? Maybe the NFL does. I'm not here to judge that. I'm just here to judge who I think is the best play on this game, and I think the best play in terms of the side here is going to be the Kansas City Chiefs. In terms of the over-under for this game, guys, I think the under is an excellent play. Unfortunately, getting this video out later in the week so I can continue putting out basketball stuff all week long, we maybe have missed the 49s out there. I'm not seeing any 49s or 49.5s. Seems that we're stuck with 48.5, but I don't think that's a problem at all. Both teams love to run the ball. They want to run the clock down. They want to control the pace of the game. Both teams want to keep the ball out of the opposing offense's hands as much as they possibly can. Both squads being so running focused, and the Eagles are obviously a huge running team. Both teams are also elite teams defensively, which that's going to make offense at even more of a premium. We've also seen both teams have their struggles there in the red zone. That contributes very much. Like, 3 is a lot less than 7, guys. So if we see some floundering there in the red zone, especially, in the first half when teams are a little bit rusty, having been off for so long before this game, I think we see offense be at a premium. I love under 48.5. It's a bigger play for me than the side in this one, absolutely for sure. I also think there's a lot of very good reasons here to take under 24.5 in the first half. Taking the under in the first half, very reasonable. Both teams going to be rusty here in the first half. If we have one of those weird Super Bowls where both teams look crap in the first half and then we see offensive explosions in the second half, you can dodge that by just taking the under in the first half as well. So under in the first half, definitely a play that has a great chance to end up in the pinned comment also. Hey guys, jumping in here with a quick ad break. This is a great time to sign up for StumpTheSpread.com. Signing up for a premium membership gets you access to our top confidence plays on all the major sports. We're currently covering NCAA basketball, the NBA, NHL, UFC, and the NFL. We have a team of professional cappers that work extremely hard putting in the research on these games every day so you don't have to. We make things very easy for you with pick notifications directly to your phone and unit sizes assigned to each play so you can see where our confidence level is on every individual matchup. To test out the service before you buy, join our free email list, get the occasional free or premium pick straight to your inbox. Just click the link in the description to sign up for a free account. Don't forget to like this video and subscribe to the channel if you're new. Now guys, back to the games. Now guys, since we looked at the injury reports, we looked at the sides, we looked at the over-unders, we're going to move on and we're going to look at some game props first of all. And one that I think is a little bit undervalued in big spots like the Super Bowl is taking the defense to potentially score. Defenses tend to score way more than the normal here in Super Bowl games and possibly even in, playoff games due to the defenses, I think. And this is, I'm not, I don't know. I'm not a coach. I'm not a defensive NFL professional football player, but it seems like the defenses have much more time to scout. They've got a better idea of, when they can possibly jump a route, go for a big risky play that, could completely flip the game, like some sort of crazy pick six, a scoop and score, anything like that seems much more possible when you've had a couple of weeks to just dive way down the rabbit hole of tendencies that the other team showed. Also, teams really have to go for it in these situations. There's no reason to hold back at this point. You might as well go for it because you're going to have to make a play at some point. And if that, makes you win the Super Bowl, cool. If that makes you, make a couple more risky throws to try and get back into a game that you normally wouldn't have made, cool. You have to do it either way. This is the last game of the season. No reason to really, mess with that here. Another prop that I think is reasonable, guys. I think you could take either team to win by exactly 3 points. Obviously, it's very, very exact, but looking at how close of a matchup this is, how big of a stretch is it for this to come down to a tied game at the end of the game, and it comes down to a field goal, or in overtime, you could see a field goal end the game as well. So I definitely think taking either team to win by exactly 3 points, not crazy at all. I also think, guys, taking the Eagles in the first half to, and then Kansas City to end up winning the game is very reasonable. We've seen Mahomes be 0-4 in first halves in this spot. So I definitely think there's a great reason to take the Eagles in the first half, the Chiefs to figure things out at halftime, come back out and win this game. So that play seems reasonable to me as well. In terms of some MVP bets for the Super Bowl, guys, I'm not going to get crazy into this, but there's some interesting stuff to look at. First of all, 57% of Super Bowl MVPs are quarterbacks. Running backs, it seems like they never get the MVP anymore. Saquon, I feel like he can only win the MVP if the Eagles win and he has an amazing game and Hurts does almost nothing. I do think if the Eagles win, it's probably going to be because Hurts has a good game. I think the Chiefs are going to do everything they possibly can to shut down Saquon. And if Hurts has a big game and the Eagles win, guess who's getting the MVP? It's going to be Jalen Hurts. So if you like the Eagles here, I think there's a great reason to take, Hurts. You could talk me into Saquon too, for sure. I get it. To get the MVP, if you think the Chiefs are going to win like I do, I think you definitely want to go with Mahomes probably as your MVP bet. If you're looking for a crazy long shot MVP, I think Devonta Smith here is a good long shot option. He has very good success against zone defenses, and I think we're going to see a good amount of that from the Chiefs in this game. So it's a long shot, obviously, but it's a Super Bowl. It's time to gamble and hang out and eat some good food. So you could definitely talk me into that one as well. Also, guys, I think this is a pretty niche one, but both teams to convert on a fourth down in this game, you can get some pretty good numbers on that. I think we're going to see both teams be very aggressive going for it. The Eagles have heard tons and tons of noise about not going for it often enough in situations very similar to this one. So I think they'll be more aggressive, and it's the Super Bowl. This is the time you go for it. So I think we'll see both teams converting on fourth down at least once in this game. And my last game prop here, I think at least 1 2-point conversion will happen in this game. Will it be successful? Obviously, that can make things a little bit sketch, but you can get a pretty good price on that as well. So I think looking at a 2-point conversion to occur in this game definitely has some relevance. Now, guys, we're going to hop over and look at some player props for this game. And first up, guys, I think we might actually want to be looking at taking the Saquon Barkley under in rushing yards. And before you get all over me about how good he's been this season, I totally get it. I've loved watching Saquon go nuts out there, but I think the Eagles defense is going to pack the box against him and make Jalen Hurts beat them. And if all they do is limit Saquon to, a normal running day, he doesn't break off a 60-yard run, it's going to be very hard for him to get over that, 124.5 rushing yards. It's at minus 170, so it's probably not going in the pinned comment, but I do think it's worth noting. Obviously, Saquon's rushing yards has been a big topic of debate, leading up here to this game with him having such an insane season. So we'll see what happens, but I think under 124.5 is the side I want to be on. In terms of a Mahomes prop that I think is very reasonable, I like Mahomes here at under 35.5 passing attempts at minus 125. I think if Kansas City's going to win this game, it's because Mahomes isn't going to have to pass a ton because they'll be having a lead in this game. They're going to be running the ball. They're going to be running the clock down. I think we'll see Mahomes run at a decent amount. I think we'll see, obviously Kareem Hunt running the ball a good amount, and we'll see Pacheco running the ball somewhat at least. So yeah, I think Mahomes under on passing attempts at minus 125, it definitely has a chance to end up in my pinned comment. Also, guys, I think Kareem Hunt getting more snaps than Pacheco, that makes a ton of sense to me. I'm leaning towards Hunt in a lot of spots in this game for sure. I think he's going to be, he's what the Chiefs hope will work out the best in this game. If they can just run the ball successfully, which obviously is tough to do against the Eagles, don't get me wrong, but if they can, that's going to be where they want to go, and they're going to want to go there early and often in this game. And speaking of them going there early, I like Hunt to be the first player to get to 20 yards in the game. That's at plus 450. Obviously, we're, going against the idea of Saquon just busting off a 20-yard run right out of the gate, but I think Hunt getting to that number, and it's at plus 450, so you're getting 4.5 to 1 there, seems like a reasonable spot to take a flyer to me. Saquon to have the longest run in the game is a play that I definitely like on Saquon. That's at minus 150. I think it should be a much higher price than that. You could definitely interest me that, especially if you think Saquon's going to have some sort of massive day, make it rain on that one. Hammer that one if you like Saquon in this game. Also, I like Saquon under his rushing yards in the first half, though. Kansas City, I just think they're going to sell out to stop the run here. Not a play that's going to go in the pin comment, but I think it's certainly worth looking at. A play that has a great chance to end up in the pin comment here, and it's a little bit of a long shot, but I like Devonta Smith to get a 25-plus yard reception at plus 165. They're going to be forcing the ball downfield at some point in this game. Also, this dude could break a tackle or two, make somebody miss, easily get a 25-yard completion early in this game. And that's not even that crazy of a down the field play. Like, I think we could see Devonta Smith get to that one without too much trouble. A play that is definitely 100% going in the pin comment here is Butker to kick 2+ field goals at minus 160. Kansas City, not amazing in the red zone, especially I expect them to struggle perhaps in the red zone early in this game. We're kicking in a dome here, so the perfect environment. We could see, late game heroics kind of kicking 2 field goals here. I know it's minus 160, so not an amazing price, but still a good enough price for me. I think that should be closer to minus 200 because I think the Chiefs kicking a couple field goals in this game is very, very close to a lock. Next up, we're gonna look at some touchdown scorer plays here, and I like a couple of these a lot, and these are fun ones, guys. These are really fun ones. First up, I like Kareem Hunt to score a touchdown here at plus 130. Kansas City, they're going to, I think, win this game. That means they're gonna have found a way to have success in the red zone and to run the ball. Kareem Hunt, he's going to get into the end zone here, I think, the vast majority of the time. Plus 130, a fantastic price. Definitely give me Kareem Hunt to get in the end zone tonight. I also like Juju Smith-Schuster as a little bit of a deep cut play here. Him to score a touchdown is at plus 550. The Chiefs, in Mahomes, they tend to spread the ball around. Mahomes, obviously an equal opportunity passer. Kelsey's going to be the main focus of the defense. Juju Smith, and so is Xavier Worthy. So yeah, Juju Smith-Schuster to get a touchdown in this game at plus 550. Seems like a very fun place to take a flyer to me. I also think Jalen Hurts to score a touchdown here, minus 115, so not a terrible price. The tush push is going to be in full effect in this game. I think the Eagles are going to be very aggressive on fourth downs, especially in the red zone. I also think the odds on Saquon are way too steep for me to be interested in him scoring a touchdown, so go ahead and give me Jalen Hurts here at minus 115. I think he gets into the end zone in this game the vast majority of the time. That's a play that honestly has a chance to end up in the pinned comment. Another deep cut that has a chance to end up in the pinned comment, guys, is Mahomes to score a touchdown at plus 300. Obviously, this dude has a nose for the huge moments in these games. The Eagles defense is going to try and stop him from running the ball, but I think at this price, it's worth a look. And yeah, this is the best prop day of the year, guys. You need to be working some long shots in there. It's just too much fun. Not all of my Super Bowl bets, guys, are made with my normal, super serious better cap. This is the Super Bowl. This is the time to gamble it up, have a good time, and look at some fun bets. So now that we've covered everything I'm going to look at for the Super Bowl, guys, let's hop over and we're going to look at this very, very short 3-game NBA slate. Keep in mind, these are early NBA games, guys. They are not trying to compete with the Super Bowl. They're not trying to have games going on during the Super Bowl. Obviously, what kind of freaking ratings are you going to get for a regular season NBA game when you have the Super Bowl going on? So first up, we're going to be looking at the Charlotte Hornets going on the road here for a noon game. They are taking on the Detroit Pistons. The Hornets, guys, they come into this one fresh off of a crazy 117-116 win there against the Spurs. Awesome stuff there. Also some very wild news, guys. The trade between the Charlotte Hornets and the Los Angeles Lakers for Mark Williams has been rescinded, according to the Lakers. The trade is rescinded because of the Hornets' failure to satisfy a condition in the trade. I don't have too much more information about what happened. That news literally just broke 10 or 15 minutes ago. So we'll see what goes on there. I don't necessarily expect Williams to be playing in this game. And I don't really know what to expect from the Hornets in general here because they played quite the nice game there against the Spurs to come away with the win. Obviously, it took some late game heroics there by Miles Bridges and a great pass there from Ball, but they got the job done for that 1-point win. We saw Castle go nuts there for the Spurs, but not enough to get the job done. Honestly, not the prettiest game out there from the Hornets, but we did see, LaMelo Ball come back, play kind of okay. 9 of 26, though, not getting me all fired up. They did shoot 44% from 3, but it wasn't LaMelo Ball's fault. We saw a 4 of 6 night from Seth Curry, he's playing a little bit better. But in general, guys, the Hornets, not necessarily a team that's trying to win right now. We see their injury report. Josh Green is on there. We'll see if he is available for this game. Yeah, no, he won't play. That calf issue is going to keep him sidelined. Nick Smith Jr., he is day-to-day, questionable with that ongoing back problem. We see Dalton Connect, obviously just came over in that trade. Josh Okogie, Nurkic also. Connect, guys, he's questionable for this one, so there's a chance he could be out there. Okogie, he's not going to be back for a while. At least 3 more weeks, and that's probably going to be longer than that. Hamstring issues always take longer. and Nurkic, he's also questionable for this game. These are mostly guys that don't really move the needle for me too much in this particular matchup, but we're going to see what goes on there with the Hornets as they go on the road in this one to take on the Detroit Pistons, who are 26-26 on the season off of that nice 125 to 112 win there against the 76ers. They came up big in a big spot there for the 76ers because Philadelphia had their big three back, but the Pistons decided that they did not care about that. Beasley, man, Malik Beasley having an incredible season. He went off for 36 points, 9 of 19 from 3, 13 of 23 from the field, a plus 10 for him. Jalen Duren was a plus 26 and had 13 points and 13 boards. They did all of this, guys, without Cade. Crazy stuff. Tobias Harris coming up with a big game. You don't see that every day. Very good. A couple double-digit scores coming off the bench. They shot 38.6% from 3, and they dominated the boards against a Joel Embiid team. Yeah, you don't see that every day. Embiid, 7 rebounds, looking like the worst contract maybe in NBA history. So we'll see how that all works out down the stretch, but the 76ers have to be an absolute, burn things down mode. We'll talk about the 76ers later, guys. The Pistons have to be pumped with how things are looking. We see, that addition of Dennis Schroeder could be big for them. They added, a backup point guard for Cade is important, and taking the ball out of his hands a little bit would also probably be nice. It looks like Cade is probable for this game. Dennis Schroeder, recently traded. He's questionable for this one. We'll see what goes on there. Thought it was a pretty wild thing for him to compare the NBA trade deadline to slavery. I probably wouldn't have gone quite that far. It's probably a little bit rough to have to move, but I don't think I would really put it in the slavery category. That's a bit rough, but we like that addition for the Pistons as long as he, is motivated to play well. And yeah, things are looking pretty good for the Pistons, who are 9.5 point favorites in this game. We've got a total of 223.5. Charlotte 10-9-1 against spread on the road, 6-4-2 against spread after a win. They're 30-19 to the under this season. That's an NBA best mark to the under. Detroit 12-13-1 against spread at home, 10-13-2 against the spread after a win, and they are a slight over team. So Detroit, not the best team coming off of a win. Seems like they maybe take their foot off the gas just a little bit in those situations. So we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens with them in this game. But guys, I am leaning here just slightly towards the Hornets and the points. I think all these new guys they just loaded up, I think they're going to play a pretty competitive game, but much better than the side in this one. I think the under 223.5 is very, very live. Are either one of these ending up in the pinned comment, though? Not right now. Next up, we're looking at the Toronto Raptors going on the road to take on the Houston Rockets. The Raptors come into this game 16-36 on the season, fresh off of getting kind of blown out there at the Thunder, losing 121 to 109. They've lost their last 3 in a row and 4 out of their last 5, and not really a team that's heading in an amazing direction. They made a kind of confusing trade there, adding in Brandon Ingram, who obviously is injured, won't be playing yet. Very, very little clarity on when he's going to be back. Apparently, he's not that far from returning, but definitely not going to be out there for this game. The Raptors in general have dealt with a lot of injuries this season and a lot of holding guys out in situations that really makes them look like they're tanking. We've also seen a pretty bad Scotty Barnes season. I mean, he scored 21 points, was 8 of 20 from the field last time out. And yeah, I don't know if he's really the kind of talent you build a franchise around. That's just not what it looks like to me. The guy's young, things could change, but it's not changing too fast. They also Emmanuel Quickly, a ton of money now, and he's looking terrible, guys. 28 minutes, 6 points, 10 assists. I mean, 10 assists is cool, but you got to score at some point. We saw Toronto get blown out despite shooting 46% from three-point range. That's not a good sign, guys. This Raptors team has been all over the place this season. They've been a lot better at home, but this game is not happening at home. We see RJ Barrett, Brandon Ingram, Jakob Poeltl all on the injury report, and it appears they're all going to be out. RJ Barrett still dealing with concussion symptoms. Brandon Ingram still out with that ankle injury, and Jakob Poeltl with his hip problem has been ruled out for this game. So we'll see what they can do here going on the road to take on the Rockets, who are fresh off that 116-105 loss there at the Dallas Mavericks. Thank you, Rockets, for losing that game. We were on the Mavs in that one. We will take that win all the way to the bank. The Rockets in a complete and total tailspin right now. They've dropped 6 games in a row, straight up not having a good time. They can't beat anyone right now, can't beat bad teams, can't beat good teams. How have the wheels fallen off this hard with Fred VanVleet out? Like, everybody was freaking out about how good the Rockets were, myself included, and all of a sudden, Fred VanVleet goes down for a little bit, and they bottom out. So we'll see what happens with the Rockets here. I mean, at the Mavericks, they were not having a good time. Sengun put up a 30-piece. It did not matter. 20 points there from Amen Thompson. Did not matter. Dylan Brooks, 9 points, not looking great. Jalen Green, 24 points. Not super efficient, but not terrible. And they just can't come away with the win. Only shooting 8 of 28 there from the three-point line. they really feels like they needed to add some sort of veteran point guard presence, in addition to Van Vliet possibly, or maybe instead of Van Vliet. But yeah, things not looking great. Everybody's healthy for this game except for Fred Van Vliet, and he still, dealing considered week to week. He's only been out 5 days, so there's no way he's going to be back already. It's going to be a minute until we see him back after that right ankle strain. So yeah, things looking rough. Things looking rough right now, but the odds makers don't care. The Rockets, 9.5-point favorites here at home. We've got a total of 224.5. Toronto, 13-11 against spread on the road, 9-7 against spread after a loss, 27-25 to the over. Houston, 12-11 against spread at home, 4-5-1 against spread on no rest, and 11-8 against spread after a loss. They're 27-24-1 to the over. So maybe you could talk me into over 224.5. In terms of a side here, there's no way I'm going with the Rockets right now until this terrible streak ends. Maybe it ends on this game, so maybe you could try and catch a falling knife in this one if you wanted, but I'm going to be slightly here on the Raptors plus 9.5 as the smallest of small leans. Last but not least here, guys, we have the nationally televised game of the day for the NBA. It's a 1 o'clock tip. It's going to be on ABC. We've got the Philadelphia 76ers going on the road to take on the Milwaukee Bucks. The 76ers come into this game 20-31 in the season, fresh off a very embarrassing and disappointing loss there at the Pistons. We've got Perkins, guys, Kendrick Perkins saying that the 76ers need to trade Embiid and Paul George. I'm not about to listen to a damn thing Kendrick Perkins says, but the 76ers are definitely playing terrible. That was a poor performance there. Paul George, I saw the joke that, he's called PG-13 because you have to be 13 or older to see that much ass on TV, because he has looked terrible recently. 14 points, 6 of 10 from the field in his 30 minutes. He was terrible out there on defense as well. We saw Embiid look very mediocre. 7 rebounds, 23 points, a -19. Tyrese Maxey, just continues to look like the only good player on this team. Didn't like anything we saw off the bench except for Quentin Grimes. He did put up 14 points off the pine. The 76ers got blown out in this game despite shooting 42% from three-point range. They got destroyed on the boards. This is just straight up not a very good team at all right now. And looking at the injury report, guys, shock of the year, we see Embiid on there. Paul George, he's good to go. Good to go out there and give you another 30 minutes, another 10 points maybe. Woo! I bet that feels great for a guy that's on a huge contract now. Embiid is questionable with his knee issue, so we don't have any clarity on whether or not he's going to play. He has played in 2 of the last 3 games, but he's iffy to play in this one. We'll see. Yabusele is on track to return here, so if Embiid's not out there, we will see Yabusele, who's actually played really well for this team. So we'll see what the 76ers can do here on the road against the Milwaukee Bucks, another team that's having a lot of problems, guys. They've lost, 5 out of their last 6 now. They got 1 win against the Hornets in there. They just lost 115-110 against the Hawks. We see Giannis is going to remain sidelined for this game, and he was not out there against the Hawks, and they could have definitely used him. Dame put up 23. Bobby Portis put up 26. The starters looked pretty good, but the bench, they could score, but they could not stop anyone. 19 points there from Gary Trent Jr., 12 from newly acquired Kyle Kuzma, who is a big old 4 of 13 from the field. Turns out those shooting problems were not left behind in Washington. So we'll see if the Bucks can bounce back here. They shot 38% from the three-point line on 50 attempts from deep and lost to the Atlanta Hawks, a team that's now actively tanking. So we'll see what they can do in this one. Looking at that injury report, obviously no Giannis there. So looks like we'll probably have Kuzma in the starting lineup. Kevin Porter Jr. also on the injury report, guys. He is probably looking like he's going to be out for this game against the Hawks, so he won't be playing yet either. Looking at the numbers in a very odd game, guys, the Bucks are 2.5-point favorites. We've got a total of 225.5. The 76ers, 10-14-1 against spread on the road, 10-19-1 against spread after a loss, and they are an over team, 27-21-3 to the over. Milwaukee, 11-12-1 against spread at home, 9-13 against spread after loss, 26-25 to the under. Another really weird spot, guys. If we knew Embiid was playing, I would probably run it back here and take the 76ers against the short-handed Milwaukee Bucks, but since we don't know, it's very tough. I don't know of anybody on the 76ers that's going to have a good time guarding Dame. Bobby Portis is playing well, and with Embiid out, who's really going to guard Bobby Portis here? So I'm actually leaning towards the Bucks at -2.5 under the assumption that Embiid's going to sit this game out, but neither one of these teams really get me going right now. Most of our attention in this day, guys, is going to be concentrated on the Super Bowl, our over-under, our side bet, and especially those big, those very fun prop bets that are out there. So that's all we have for today, guys. Hit that like button for good luck on all of your bets. Have a fun time watching the Super Bowl. Make sure you're hitting that like button and subscribing. If we get to 1,000 likes in the Super Bowl video, we will be giving away one of these hoodies. If we can get to 50,000 subscribers, we'll be giving away one of these hoodies as well. Thanks for watching. Get in the comments. Let me know any questions you have about today's slate. click the link in the description to get over to stumpthespread.com to see all of our premium picks on college basketball, just coming off of a nice winning day there on Saturday. And, all of our other premium picks covering all the major sports. That's all we got for this one, guys. We'll see you tomorrow for more sports betting action.